Can Lincoln Riley go into Autzen and pull out a win to lock in a playoff spot? Or will the Oklahoma Sooners derail the Missouri Tigers' chances at 10 wins this season? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Oregon hosting USC in the game of the week with playoff hopes on the line and the Missouri Tigers trying to play spoiler in Norman. First off, let's talk about USC Oregon. This is a game with two teams who are really similar in a lot of ways. They both like to push the ball down the field. They both like to build that offense off of the run. They both have pretty good defensive lines who get pressure. They both have a very good secondary. These two teams are very similar. And the interesting thing about this game is I think that the winner makes the playoffs and the loser doesn't. If USC wins, they're going to have a win against a number 7 Oregon. They're already number 12, I think, right now. So that'll bump them definitely up into the playoff field. And then they go play UCLA, and UCLA is horrible. That would get them an extra win. And I think that at 10-2, the wins over Oregon, that USC is a playoff team. But I think for Oregon, if you lose this game, then you show the committee that our two games we played USC, we lost, and we played Indiana, and we lost, both at home. And our best win is going to be at 6-4 Iowa. The committee's not going to respect you at that point, and I think you knock yourself out. So this game has huge implications for both teams. Because on the same side, if USC loses 3 losses, 7-3, they're out of there. They're not making the playoffs. I think for USC, their big weapons here is pass game. They're going to go spread the ball down the field. They're going to take deep shots because they have a quarterback who's good enough at taking them. He knows the risks and the rewards, but they also have 2 wide receivers who are fantastic. Mekhi Lemon is going to be a top 10 draft pick this season with how good he is at wide receiver. It seems like he's averaging 150 yards a game. He's been that good. And then across from them, they have Jacoby Lane, who's going to be a 2nd or 3rd round draft pick. So Oregon has the dilemma of what do we choose to stop? Are we going to play down the box and force them to pass? Well, that plays right into USC's hand. But if Oregon plays back and plays the pass, the run is open, and we watched USC is able to run the ball. King Miller is a great running back, and I don't even believe he's on scholarship still, but he's a great back who can go give you 100 rushing yards. So Oregon has that dilemma. And then in the pass game, are they going to go double team Mekhi Lemon and say, make someone else beat us? Or are they going to single coverage and trust their secondary? That's a huge factor in this game. But I think Lincoln Riley is going to be able to draw up stuff that gets them open no matter what. You could quadruple coverage Mekhi Lemon, and Lincoln Riley is a good enough offensive mind that he will still find a way to get Mekhi Lemon the football when it's needed. And for Oregon, there's a common opponent for both these teams, and it's Iowa. USC hosted Iowa at home, and they got the job done. Oregon went to Iowa, and they got the job done. But what did Oregon show better? It was their ability to run the football against a very good Iowa defensive line. They were able to run for 261 total yards against Iowa. The Iowa that always has huge, beefy defensive linemen. USC wasn't able to do that as well. They still got the win, but they were able to their defense was able to force Iowa one-dimensional, where Oregon wasn't. I think this is a game that comes down to both teams have such electrifying offenses that it's not going to be the offense that decides this game. Which defense is going to step up better? Which defense is going to get the other team into 3rd and longs and be able to get pressure on the quarterback? When these two quarterbacks have pressure, they're definitely not as good. But when these two quarterbacks have clean pockets, they're definitely 2 of the top 10 quarterbacks in the entire country. That's how good they are and how good their scheme is around them. I think ultimately what pushes me one way in this game is that USC does not have the depth at D-line to go in there and just let Oregon run the football all day. If Oregon plays the game slow, they're grinding it out, keep those D-linemen on the field, and just run the ball down your throat, USC is eventually going to get tired, and then you can utilize the pass game and the play action and get guys open. I think that's really the biggest detriment to this USC team is not their defensive line, but their defensive line depth, because their top 4 is good. It's not bad at all. But after that, the depth isn't there for what they need to do, I think, to win this football game. So I think overall, I'm going to take a pretty high-scoring game. I think that Oregon is going to win in a 33-28 game over USC. So I think USC will cover, but I think Oregon is able to get it done at home this time with College Game Day in town. And next up, in Norman, Oklahoma, Missouri, Oklahoma, the rivalry that was, then wasn't, and it's back now. This is a fun game. I think it's pretty cut and dry here what's going to happen. If Bo Prabula is not good to go, and it's Matt Zollers, then you can go ahead and mark down that Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts are going to get 40 carries total. If not, Ahmad Hardy gets 30 him own. So This is a game that Oklahoma's D-line is really going to be tested, and it's a spot that I feel very confident in the Sooners. If the Sooners have a game where it plays right into their hands, this is the one. Your secondary is probably the weakest point of your defense, and the other team has a third-string quarterback who hasn't shown a lot of promise throwing the ball down the field. So you are able to then go stop the run, play down to the run, and trust your guys one-on-one. That's a huge benefactor for Oklahoma. The downside of that, though, is Ahmad Hardy may be one of the best running backs in the country. He leads the country in yards after contact. He leads the country in total yards. He's like 5th in total touchdowns. This guy is an insane running back that Eli Drinkwitz keeps finding running backs, and it's crazy. He got Kawan Lacey. He transferred out. Now he has Ahmad Hardy. He just continues to find running backs to thrive in the system. And for Oklahoma, one of their biggest detriments in the run game was every game it seems like they'll allow one big gushing run play. They will go out there and they'll stop you. They'll hold you to 2 yards a carry, 3 yards a carry, but then you'll break one for 40, 50, 60 yards, possibly a touchdown. We saw Kawan Lacey do this. It's a possible thing this Oklahoma defense fails in sometimes because of the linebackers missing the reads, the gaps, or the safeties crashing down and missing their read on the play. I think this game comes down to a simple thing for me, though, is that if you're one-dimensional, Oklahoma will exploit you. Against Alabama, Alabama was a one-dimensional team and Oklahoma exploited them. Did we give up a lot of yards? Yes, but that's how the Oklahoma team plays defense. If Ahmad Hardy has 300 rushing yards, but all of those come in between the 20s, then I don't care because that's not going to mean anything. It's going to mean field goals, and I think the Oklahoma Sooners are going to be able to win in that situation. But it's when Ahmad Hardy can get into the 20s and into the red zone, and then they lean on him, that's when they become dangerous. But that's when Oklahoma defense is their best. Oklahoma plays a team that's one-dimensional. I believe that they will win because their defense and Brent Venables is good enough at scheming you up and reading the play calls. I think another thing here is if you lose a turnover to battle to Oklahoma, you will not win. If you give this Oklahoma team chances to go score, you will not win. If you give their defense that much life, you will not win, especially with how good Tate Sandell's leg has been. You get a turnover and Oklahoma's at let's say their own 40. They need, 25 yards to be in field goal range? That is just not a recipe for success. And Matt Zollers is a guy who every game he started has at least had one turnover. And Missouri at least has had one turnover in every game this year, I believe, other than their first game of the season. I think I'm a little in an in-between area here on if this is going to be a close game or if Oklahoma's just going to go out there and take care of business and it's going to be a game kind of like OU at South Carolina. I think there's a lot of teams in the country that coming off a win at Bama would have that after the win high. They'd come out, they'd be like, look, everything's in front of us. It doesn't matter now. And they would lose. But I think a Brent Venables-led team with a defense as good as Brent Venables is going to come out ready to punch them in the face, go knock off our rival, especially after the way we lost last year. The team's going to want to win this one. Brent Venables wants to win this one because he was a coach for Oklahoma when Missouri and Oklahoma played every year. He knows what it means to go beat Missouri. And I think this year, Oklahoma's going to get it done in a pretty overwhelmingly fashion game. I think I'm going to go with a 24-10 game. Give me the Sooners. Thank y'all for tuning back in. Make sure to leave y'all's comments down below and what y'all think about the games this week. While you're down there, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and noti bell, and check back in next week for all of our rivalry week predictions. Boomer.